was remote control. The haircuts were skinhead or fade. Leather daddies were present, but the group I'd fallen in with wore the uniform of rough council estates. Polo shirt with collar popped, white trainers, white cap. It crossed my mind I was playing with men who emulated porn actors pretending to be rough trade. I saw these men as being in their domain, depraved and sketchy, whereas I was just passing through. Then again I understood I'm the company I keep, a man over 40 with a Friday night hard-on, passing as desirable in the dark. I didn't end up here out of loneliness. I'd arrived with my companion, the famous blue raincoat. We've been domestic for years. It may seem difficult to understand why two men who are happy with each other will take the risk of going to these places where the whole atmosphere of the group will tend to drive them apart, wrote Gordon Westwood, a pseudonym, in his 1952 book Society and the Homosexual. It was the author's hunch there was no other spot for these coupled men to rendezvous. To the homosexuals, in a pathetic kind of way, this place is their home. But that was another era. I hadn't been driven to the bar by society's lack of understanding. Throughout the 20th century, London pubs, cafes, and clubs would be taken over, selected, as Westwood put it, by a homosexual clientele. The unofficial meeting places could be so discreet most other customers wouldn't notice, and occasionally so brazen an orchestra would strike up a tribute when an attractive male entered the room. Proto-gays were segregated by class as much as anything else, sticking to the exclusive cellar bar at the Ritz, on the one hand, or an East End boozer on the other, or in the case of privileged men in pursuit of a bit of rough, moving from the former to the latter. In this diffuse network of commercial spaces, the clientele might be tolerated to various degrees because it brought business. Matt Holbrook, an authority on London queer history, figures, the pink shilling was a potentially lucrative market, and men's demand for a home, always ripe for exploitation. Now we were being elaborately catered to. The bar was designed for a demographic of mask-presenting homo satyrs. The steel and brick and the exposed girthy pipes declared this as manly terrain. The hint of disco in the DJ's mix got me thinking about Andrew Holleran's 1978 novel Dancer from the Dance, in which hedonistic gays haunt Manhattan's derelict warehouses, abandoned factories, and dilapidated piers. We were ghosts, the narrator says. In 1918, the British war poet Wilfred Owen wrote of loitering along the wharves on the River Thames, where I am the shadow that walks there. The final line, I with another ghost am lain, could reference troops in the trenches, but really must mean horny men who move that way to this day, as phantoms, with that slow walking, the opposite of rush-hour commuters who dart quickly but attempt to avoid collision. The cruiser ambles in pursuit of contact. It's a saunter that wills a larger terrain, populated by more attractive men. I'd determined myself into that pace. I had not gone upstairs to be anything but another ghost. We go out to get some. On certain evenings, Famous and I intuit we're going to end up in such a place without the need for discussion. We go out because we're thirsty. We go out to return to the thrill of the chase. We want to be in a room full of penises wherein each contains the strong possibility that it is, to use the old-fashioned queer initialism, TBH, to be had. That phrase looks forward to fondly looking back, all about the conquest and bragging about it later. But I could be at home, thumbing through a grid of TBH torsos on my phone. We go out for the aroma. Some nights just smell like trouble. The city at dusk carries the scent of all its citizens commingled. We head out on the dopamine. There are nights that have an audible pulse, so we dance. I thought then of two lines from Paul Verlaine. I dance to save myself and find, swimming in sweat, it's in our common breath I fly. We were not dancing exactly, but the DJ was building up propulsive tracks, throbbing and hissing. I turned my cap backwards so the brim wouldn't impede my access to the blonde's full shaft. I wanted my snout buried as much as anything else to prove my commitment to the scene. His pale foreskin was pulled back. The penis had been overhyped, but I decided still it was lovely. It was pleased with itself, like a toddler standing proudly at a scene of destruction. I plunged onto him.